Welcome to the Brad and Taylor Show. Today we have Justin Ford.
You're listening to The Brad and Taylor Show, a podcast that inspires entrepreneurs to pursue their passions. We're sitting down with some of the best to learn how they got started and some lessons they learned along the way.
Hi, Justin. How's it going?
I'm great. How you guys doing?
We're good.
We're doing good. So what do you do?
So I am a real estate broker. I've been in the industry for about 16 years, but a broker for 8. And I recently moved my real estate team. I had a independent brokerage, just moved over to EXP about 2 months ago.
Nice. So when you, let's back it up a little bit, but when you were little and you're growing up, did you know you're going to be an agent?
No, but I was always told that I was either going to be a lawyer or some type of salesperson because of all the questions that I asked. I would always annoy people around me because I always asked so many questions. So they're like, yeah, you're going to be a lawyer or a salesperson.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
What kind of got you into real estate? Did you know anybody when you were younger that you kind of like looked up to in this field?
No, not at all. So I originally, 16 years ago, I got into the mortgage business. I had a friend who owned a mortgage broker office, and he knew that I was in sales. And at the time I was working for a telemarketing firm. And this was in the boom when everything was booming, for mortgages back in 2005 and 6. He's like, man, you need to come over and make some calls, and set some appointments. So I would work my day job and then I'd go over there for a few hours after. And, within 2 weeks, I quit my day job, and went into the mortgage business. And that's how I got really exposed to the real estate industry. And after, being within the industry from mortgages to doing short sales and loan modifications when the foreclosure crash kind of happened, that's when I hopped into becoming a licensed real estate agent.
Nice. That's awesome. So how did you, how was your, were you doing mortgages and agent at the same time, or did you kind of just go all into it then?
Yep. So after the mortgage industry kind of crashed back in 2008 and 2009, I moved over into helping people with short sales and loan modifications during that time where, almost every home was underwater.
Yeah.
And then, after the market started to rebound and pick up and get better, that's when I decided to go get my real estate license.
Gotcha. So then, when you were an agent, like when you started, did you like join a team or anything, or just kind of do it by yourself and then run with it from there?
Yep, that's a great question. And so me and my wife at the time, she's still my wife, not at the time, but at that time, my wife and I were just kind of looking around and praying and just trying to figure out what, where we were going to go. And I had known Jeff Glover for a period of time and always saw his billboards. And I says, in order to be the best, you need to learn for the best. And so my wife and I prayed about it. We decided that it would be best for me to really go work for Jeff. And so started with him and was with him for 3 years.
Wow. Did you, did you move at all, or are you kind of still in the same spot? Cause I know, he's not in, where's he located? I can't remember.
He's in Plymouth.
Okay. Gotcha. I couldn't remember because I know he's all over now.
Yeah. So I'm originally from downriver. So I was living in Allen Park when I joined Jeff's team, and then I was making the 30 to 40 minute commute every day. And so we ended up moving to Plymouth to get closer. And then after I had left Jeff to go start my own brokerage, I opened an office back downriver in Allen Park. Then I opened a second office in Plymouth. And now I'm just here in Plymouth. So I have my office in Plymouth now.
Nice. That's awesome. So what is probably the best advice he ever gave you when you started out?
Yeah. So, Jeff does things a lot different than most real estate companies, and everybody that starts on his team has to go through, like a 90 to 180 day, boot camp program of learning how to prospect and make phone calls.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember when I first interviewed with him, I thought real estate was all about just selling big homes, making big checks, driving nice cars. So when I went to interview with Jeff, I thought I was just going to hop right in and be an agent.
Yeah.
He basically said, well, you have to do this for 90 days. I need you to be on the phones and make phone calls 8 to 10 hours a day before you ever meet with the seller, before you ever meet with the buyer. You're going to do this for 90 days. And I said, that's not what I'm signing up for. So I wanted to sell homes, right?
Yeah.
So here was his piece of advice. He says, Justin, I know this is feeling like you're taking a step back, which it did because I was,
Yeah.
self-employed all these years. And he says, but if you'll trust me and you'll follow this process,
Hmm.
he says you'll be extremely successful. And so I kind of ate up, a slice of humble pie, humbled myself, and I took his advice, and he was right. It's worked out really well.
Yeah, because I know you're doing you're like killing it. Because every time I see him, like got another listing. So so you guys are killing it.
Thank
That's
you.
awesome. So what are you said you just switched over. Are you planning on building a team in the next couple of years, or what you got going on?
Yep, yep. So I'll kind of give you a backstory. When I started my brokerage, I thought that I wanted to just own this big brokerage and have all of these people. And then I realized not too long after that's not what I wanted. Right, the
Yeah.
overhead, the responsibility, the liability. I had about 40 people about 3-4 years ago, and I basically stopped doing what I love to do, and that's sell homes. And Jeff told me early on, he said it's very hard to build a big company and sell real estate at the same time. You're really going to only be able to favor one or the other. And so I said, I'll prove you wrong. I can do this. And I
Yep.
remember the day I went back to him, I'm like, you know what, Jeff, you're 100% right. And so back in 2018, I really started focusing back on just production,
Mhm.
personal production. I've been crushing it the last several years, but
Yeah.
I've always had this passion and this desire, to lead people, to motivate people, to help people. And so a buddy of mine, presented the EXP opportunity to me many years ago. I said no for 4 years, like
Yeah.
most people do.
Yep.
And when I finally realized all the potential of what the opportunity had to offer, I made the switch, and now we're growing. And what I love about it is to be able to grow a team, all around the world. And so I'm currently pretty close to about 20 people on my team,
Yeah.
in other states, and we're also growing our local team. And so it's been pretty fun.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So what other states are you guys in?
So I'm licensed in Michigan and also in Florida, and
Okay.
I'm getting ready to get my license over in Illinois. So in Chicago,
Yep.
all my wife's family is from Chicago, and I just brought on an agent yesterday into my EXP team from Chicago. I have another guy that's going to be joining, and from the Justin Ford real estate team, my goal is to be in Florida, Michigan, New York, Chicago, and the LA area.
Yep.
And then, but our EXP team, I've already got an agent in India on our team.
Huh.
We're getting ready to open up the Dominican Republic,
Nice.
Jamaica, and Canada. So we've got some things really starting to cook. So we're pretty excited.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
that is awesome. When you
Yeah.
have new agents come on your team, do you put them kind of through like the same training that you had when you first started out?
That's a great question. When I started my brokerage, I said, you know what, I'm going to do it a little bit differently. And then what
Okay.
I found out is like most agents that are in the business, they don't do much, right? And I don't think it's even their fault. I think it's because of the lack of direction
Hmm.
and training, right?
Yeah.
And so what I realized was because I've only known real estate one way, and that was the way that Jeff taught me. And so now that we've moved over to EXP and we're developing the Justin Ford real estate team where we are being very selective who we bring on to my personal team,
Mhm.
not my EXP team, but my personal team.
Yeah.
That yeah, we're taking them through a very extensive training and mentorship side of things because we want to develop them into being productive agents, not just in the business and out within 2 years like most agents are.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how long is the training that you have the agents go through?
Yeah,
Is it like a
yeah.
month period or how long do they do that for?
That's a good question as well. So it's not really a time period.
Okay.
It's more of, taking people through the process of, what I'm in the process of doing is creating like this blueprint of everything, that I've been taught and everything that I've done in real estate from start to finish to be able to teach real estate agents how to succeed in every area, whether it's working with buyers and sellers, whether it's prospecting, whether it's doing buyer consultations, is really giving them the full A to Z on how to win in real estate. And so really there's no timetable on it. It's more or
Hmm.
less, you know, taking them through these different steps. And when we feel they're really kind of ready to, fly out of the eagle's nest,
Yeah.
and kind of let them spread their wings.
Yeah, that's awesome. So let's say you started all over today, but you had all your knowledge and only $1,000. What would you spend that $1,000 on?
That's a great question. I would spend that $1,000 on hiring a coach.
Hmm.
Back in 20, right at the end of 2018, when I decided to go back into full time production, I went to one of the Glover U events,
Yeah.
right? And so I remember being with Jeff. When I left, Glover U was not in existence yet, but I always knew that he was going to be working to open a coaching company. And it was in January of 2019. I went to my first Glover U event, kind of got reconnected with Jeff and his organization. And I remember sitting through the 3 day uh, retreat that we were at. It was a summit. And I remember realizing that the thing that I was missing was somebody holding me accountable and
Mm-hmm.
really kind of kicking my butt.
Yep.
And so I whipped out my credit card and I hired my first real estate coach, Kate Simon. And I said, Kate, which is $1,000 a month. I said, Kate, listen, I'm signing up. I'm hiring you as my coach. And it transformed my business. At the end of 2018, I did 5.8 million. After hiring a coach in 2019, I did 15 million.
Hmm.
And then last year I did 31 million.
Oh
Nice.
And
wow.
so
Yeah.
to see where that investment, took me
Mm-hmm.
was incredible. And I remember, being on Jeff's team for that first 3 years, that even though I wasn't paying him to be my coach, but being within his team and being coached and mentored to him by him on a daily basis caused me to succeed at a high level. And I realized that several years that I was away and on my own, that was the thing that I was really missing. So
Yeah.
that's what I would invest my $1,000 into.
Yeah, that's awesome. Especially that, I mean, I definitely see how the coaching is helps so much, especially because, like you said, like a lot. I mean, like agents are kind of not. You don't have to go show up to the office every day,
Right,
so
right.
that holding you accountable definitely is very
Mm-hmm.
very important, especially to when you get started. So
Yeah, just to have like a structure, like a routine going on as well.
yeah,
Time
Yeah, and
blocking.
I think that's what most people are missing. Like we actually just hired and brought a girl on to our personal Justin Ford team here. She was with Caldwell Banker, new agent, and within the first several weeks of training with us and being in the office, she's like, I didn't get this in my whole first year, at Caldwell Banker. Nothing against them, but a lot of these brokerages where agents join, they don't know what to do. So I think just like me, my knowledge or my idea or my expectation of what real estate was that, hey, I'm just going to show up and sell homes and make a lot of money.
yeah,
And I think a lot of agents believe that, and the
Yeah.
statistic I believe is 90% of new agents are out of the business within 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
90%.
wow,
And I think that's because unless you're kind of taken up under someone's wing and personally mentored and really holding their hand to teach them how to succeed, most people won't figure it out on their own.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's
there's a
crazy.
lot to learn. So if you have a mentor or somebody, that's going to be very helpful.
It's
That's
a it's a
awesome.
game it's a game changer. I mean, and if you just look at people that succeed in life in any area, whether it's health, whether it's finances, whether it's in marriage, whether it's in sports, most people have coaches or mentors. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
that's there's something that's powerful behind having somebody in your corner and cheering you on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
where could somebody go find, like, let's say somebody wanted to go find a coach? Where could they look?
Well, I'm not trying to be biased, but I would definitely say Glover U. So I'm actually a coach at Glover U. No, I don't do one-on-one coaching, but I actually lead our boot camp where we teach it's a 4 month 14 15 week course where we teach people how to prospect and lead generate. That's my specialty. And after being in Glover U as a client and having a coach, it just made sense for me to come back in
Yeah,
and help lead that. But
Mm-hmm.
for an agent that's looking for a coach, a one-on-one coach, or even to get in group coaching, I would highly recommend Glover U. And even if I wasn't a coach there, I would still recommend it just because of what it's done for me personally.
yeah, that's awesome. What kind of what's one of the best business books that you've read that you'd recommend?
Business books. There's quite a few of them, and a lot of them are known by a lot of people. But I would have to say, there's two, right? Number one is called Cash Flow Quadrant by
Yep.
Robert Kiyosaki. He also wrote Rich Dad Poor Dad, but he talks about cash flow quadrant within Rich Dad Poor Dad, but he doesn't go too much into it. But
Yeah.
then he wrote a whole book on it, and really it just talks about how we trade hours for dollars, right?
Mhm.
It's how we spend our time and how we get paid. And unfortunately, even though we're all in real estate, we love real estate, and we know real estate pays really well, but we're unemployed every time we close a home, right? We have to go out and
Yeah.
find someone to rehire us.
Yeah.
And so Robert Kiyosaki talks about when you're on the left side of the quadrant and you're trading hours for dollars, the only way you can make more money is to put more hours in, right? Then he talks about the right side of the quadrant where you really leverage systems and processes, to be able to earn money. And then he talks about kind of you can use it, and look at it from a real estate standpoint. You're a solo agent on the left side, right? You're doing everything. You're taking the pictures. You're doing the paperwork. You're doing everything yourself, right? But then on the right side is where, okay, you know what? I'm going to hire a showing assistant. I'm going to hire a transaction coordinator. I'm going to hire agents around me. And now you're building a business, right? So
Mhm.
he talks about on the right side is how you build a business, but he also talks about passive residual income, which was one of the main reasons why I moved over to EXP is because of you can actually build a team and earn passive, you know, residual income and build a profit share that way, and not have to work, to create that. And so that book really opened my eyes to, how you spend your time and how you trade your hours for dollars. But then the second one would have to be the Bible. And I know, people can read the Bible without it being a religious book. You don't even have to believe in it to apply some of the principles. And there's a book within the Bible called Proverbs, and Proverbs is really called the book of wisdom. And there's just so much great stuff in there to teach people from just a business aspect of how to be a great business person, how to treat people, how to have wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, how to make right decisions, how to be, a good steward with your money. And so those are the two that I would highly recommend.
Yeah, that's awesome. How can
Yep.
how can people get a hold of you?
So I'm all over social media. You can find me. Unfortunately, I'm not one of a kind. There's a lot of Justin Ford. So all you have to do is just look for this smiling face as my profile picture. But I thought I was special until I put my name in. There's about 50 or 60, but there's only one that looks like this.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to share with everybody before we go?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say, if you're a real estate agent in the industry, whether you're a brand new agent or looking to kind of take your business to the next level, I would say that there's several things that I always recommend to my students or anybody that I'm speaking with. And number one is you just have to have, a really big why on why you do what you do. I mean, life in general, can be tough and beat you up, but this industry can do the same thing. And so what I always share is when you have a really big why and you have a really big purpose on why you want to be successful within this industry, it'll overcome and outweigh any fear or obstacles that get in your way. I mean, it's not easy to be successful because if it was, everybody would be.
Yeah.
And so I want to encourage you that, find a really, really big why and get out there and make it happen. Make sure you're setting goals, make sure you're 100% committed. And honestly, find a coach or a mentor, someone that can really come alongside of you and help you really accomplish those things and never give up, right? The only way you can fail is if you give up. And I created a motto in my life that says, quitting is not an option, right? Only success and winning is the only option. So that's what I would definitely want to leave anybody that is watching right now.
That's awesome. Thanks for coming on and sharing your story with us.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much for the opportunity, and God bless you guys.
Are these working? Here we go.
Oh, there we go. I think they're working. Should we tell them?
Mine keeps falling. It doesn't like my voice.
What do we got to tell them?
Subscribe.
Subscribe. What do we got to point at? Hey, I think there's a subscription button. Like
It might be there.
might be right there too,
Somewhere.
somewhere.
Find it. It's red.
Yeah, and it's
Red.
blue. It's green. I don't really know.
It's a color.
This mic isn't even attached. Did you plug these in? Well, I guess.
I wonder if they can hear us.
Yeah. I wonder if they hear us. Well, we should probably tell them if they can hear us. We should probably tell them also give us a 5-star review if they're listening on Apple. That'd be cool.
5
5-star
stars,
review.
guys.
Share it with everybody they can think of.
We won't take
But-
4 stars.
I mean, Taylor, I don't even think these are on. I mean,
No, I don't think this is working.
This is not working.